Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever really stopped and wondered what's actually happening deep inside your computer? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and get right into the core principles of its digital architecture.
That's right. We're not just going to learn about computers. Today, we're actually going to build one, piece by piece, starting from the very first, most basic idea. All right, let's get into it.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll lay down the digital foundation. Then, we'll gather up all our components. After that, we'll map out the assembly plan, figure out how to wire the whole system up, and finally, we'll look at the master blueprint that makes it all work.
Okay, first things first. Before we can build anything, we have to understand the material we're working with. And in the computer world, everything, and I mean everything, is digital.
So what does that word even mean, digital? Why do we call a computer a digital system in the first place? Well, it all comes down to a really simple idea about how it handles information. Honestly, the easiest way to get it is to think about a simple light switch. It can only be in one of two states, right? It's either on or it's off. There's no in-between, no kinda sorta on. A computer takes that exact same simple idea and just assigns a number to each state, 1 for on and 0 for off. That right there is the foundation of everything. It's called binary representation.
And why do this? Why use this binary system? Well, because it is incredibly reliable. Digital systems are really good at ignoring interference or, noise. They give you perfect accuracy and they make storing data super easy and dependable. So yeah, that simple on-off system is the bedrock of modern computing.
So how do we translate our everyday numbers into this new language of ones and zeros? It's actually a pretty cool trick. Take a number like 53. The computer just keeps dividing it by 2, over and over, and pays attention to the remainder each time. Then you just read those remainders from the bottom up, and boom, 53 becomes 110101. It's a simple math trick that lets any number be represented with just 2 digits.
Yeah, let's all be thankful that computers stick to cold, hard logic. Can you imagine trying to debug that error message? What a nightmare.
All right, so we've got our foundation set. Now it's time to gather the parts for our build. The best way to think about this is to picture a computer as a busy factory, with different departments that each have a really specific job to do.
Our factory has 4 main departments. First, you've got the input unit. That's your keyboard and mouse, the guys who translate our commands. Then there's the memory unit, which is like a giant warehouse, storing things short-term in RAM or long-term on a hard disk. The output unit is the showroom, where you see the results on a monitor or a printer. And then, at the very heart of it all, you have the brain of the operation.
And that brain is, of course, the central processing unit, the CPU. It runs the whole show. It even has its own little team inside, the Arithmetic Logic Unit, or ALU. That's the factory's super fast calculator. You've got the control unit, which is like the floor manager, directing traffic, and then you have registers, which are basically a high-speed scratch pad for jotting down quick notes.
And that really just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Without the CPU directing all the action, all you've got is a box of expensive, useless parts. The CPU is what makes the magic happen.
Okay, let's get to our assembly plan. We've got all our components, now we need a process. We need a way for them to work together to actually get stuff done. This is all about how a computer follows instructions.
Believe it or not, every single thing your computer does follows this simple 3-step dance. First, the CPU has to fetch the instruction from that memory warehouse. Second, it has to decode it to figure out what it's being asked to do. And finally, it will execute the command. Fetch, decode, execute. It does this over and over billions of times every second. It's kind of mind-blowing.
If that sounds a little abstract, just think about ordering food online. The restaurant receiving your order, that's the fetch stage. The chef reading the ticket and understanding the recipe, that's the decode stage. And the kitchen actually cooking your meal, you got it, that's the execute stage. It's the exact same logic, just happening at an unbelievable speed.
Okay, our factory is really starting to come together. We've got the departments, we have a workflow, but how do they all talk to each other? How does an instruction from the memory warehouse actually get to the CPU's main office? Well, we've got to wire this thing up. All this communication happens on what's called a bus system. You can literally think of it as a highway network inside your computer, and there are 3 main roads. The data bus is like a big truck, carrying the actual data and instructions. The address bus is the GPS, telling the truck exactly which memory location to go to. And the control bus? That's the traffic light system, sending out signals to manage and coordinate everything so there are no crashes.
Yeah, unlike my morning commute, this is one bus that runs with perfect, lightning-fast precision.
We have finally made it to the last and maybe the most important part of our build. We need the master blueprint, the one design that defines the entire structure. For pretty much every modern computer, that blueprint is called the von Neumann architecture.
The absolute genius of this architecture is its simplicity. It's all built on one core idea. Both the instructions, what to do, and the data, the stuff to do it with, are all stored together in the same memory, and they travel along the same shared highway, that bus system, to get to the CPU.
Now, this design truly revolutionized computing. It's the reason we have the incredible machines we have today. But, and it's a big but, this elegant simplicity comes with one major built-in problem.
It's called the von Neumann bottleneck. Because the data and the instructions have to share that same single highway between the CPU and memory, a traffic jam is basically guaranteed. The CPU is so incredibly fast that it's often finished with a task and is just sitting there, waiting for the next piece of data to arrive. This single-lane road ends up limiting the whole computer's speed.
This is the perfect analogy. Imagine a giant skyscraper, but it only has one elevator. It doesn't matter how fast people can work at their desks, they're all stuck waiting in the same line just to get up or down. That's our poor CPU, just tapping its foot in the lobby, impatiently waiting for that one single bus to show up.
So there you have it. We've built our computer from the ground up, and in the process, we've uncovered its single biggest limitation. This leaves us with a really fascinating challenge, one that engineers are tackling every single day. So now that you understand the blueprint, how would you solve it? How would you design a better highway to finally get rid of this fundamental traffic jam?